Good afternoon. This is my final project about violence in the Dominican Republic. My name is Christelle, and this present final project is an investigation about violence in the Dominican Republic. It describes what violence is, which are the different kinds of violence present in the country, some statistical data and cooperation with other Latinos countries. Also the possible source of the violence and propositions to reduce it. Indeed, every day, newspapers present murders, hold-ups, kidnapping, domestic abuses and similar cases of violence. This investigation wants to show clearly which position has the Dominican Republic in the security sector, which is the real situation, and what authority does. According to the dictionary, the violence is a behavior involving physical force indeed intended to hurt, damage or kill someone or something. According to the UNICEF, violence is a social, cultural and political problem who difficult the development with equality. Violence acts can be divided in different types and subtypes. I decided for this investigation to cut them in two different kinds. The public violence, that means social violence like hold-ups, fights, aggressions, oral, also physical ones, murders. It occurs between known or unknown persons in public places like street, in the workplace, in public institutions. The second kind of violence is the domestic violence or family violence. It's fights, aggressions, physical or psychological one, and murders within the family. Generally, it's against women and children. About the public violence, I investigated that the country has to face the organized crime, which involves a lot of activity like drug traffic and corruption, also the use of firearms. The factor of this kind of violence is unemployment, domestic violence, abuse of drug and alcohol, and the availability to have weapons. Also the geographic localization of Dominican Republic make it a place of smuggling drug that increase violence and murders. According to the organization Inside Crime, in regard to lethal violence, the Dominican Republic sits in the middle compared to the rest of Latin America and the Caribbean. In my work, there is some statistical data that say that Honduras, Salvador, Jamaica, Trinidad and Tobago, and Belize have a upper level of murders than the Dominican Republic. But Mexico, Brazil, and Panama are under the Dominican Republic. And something strange because we know that Mexico and Brazil have a lot of violence problem with gangs and also. And an important thing I found is that many of these countries, the violence is has turned into something systematic. What the authority does. In 2005, then President Leonel Fernandez began a democratic security plan. Before him, the President Hipólito Mejía also had reformed the organic police law and the code of criminal procedure. This is formulated in very comprehensive terms in security strategy proposed to contribute to the reduction of violence and crime in the country through comprehensive, transverse and participatory interventions. But it never had been materialized because there was a lot of internal resistance. Also, there is a problem in the security reform because of the disorganization of the state, the little budget and the corruption in security and justice sectors. If we examine examples of successful policy, security and other countries of Latin America, there is some ideas that can help us to find new strategy, effective strategies like an adequate and focused budget, good coordination between different institutions like the police, the justice, and also a long-term strategic vision, also flexibility, that human technology and technical experts, and also learning from past lessons. Now in the Dominican Republic, there is the President Danilo Medina has made a criticism decision about security. He asked the military to back up the national police, and it seems that he's giving some results, because in 2013 it was the low numbers of murders for 11 years. So it seems to be a good solution, because Danilo Medina wants to attack one of the security problem that the precarious force that police have become. It's a good step, but according to the Inside Crime internet site, there is more to do. For example, transparency of the justice, establishment of a rigorous criminal intelligence system, and reduction of impunity for corrupt members of security and justice. Now about domestic violence. The domestic violence is any action or conduct present within the family who is responsible of death, injuries, or suffering. It could be physical, sexual, or psychological abuses, abandonment, neglect, incest, infanticide, sexual exploitation, genital mutilation, children weddings, and so on. There is not a lot of statistics about this kind of violence, because it's often hidden, including by the victims themselves. But the UNICEF make some statistics in 2002. 24% of women between 15 and 49 years old have been victims of physical aggression after 15 years old. For the separated and divorced women, it goes up to 14%. Also, domestic employee 33%. The origin of the aggressions are 63% husband or ex-husband, 14% mother, 10% father, 9% other members of the family, and 37% another statistic that said that 37% of Dominican women don't consider themselves as equal as men. 1 of 10 women think it's correct that men hit their wife. So according to The Guardian, the problem of domestic violence in this country is exacerbated by the belief that machismo and subjugation of women is just part of the culture. This is a big problem, because people think that it's a custom in the culture. It's normal. They don't look like the violence don't look like bad. And there is this subjection of women make them powerless. There is the double of unemployment in women than men. Women earn 44% less than men for the same work. Another date that with a population of about 10 million, gender-based violence is the fourth leading cause of death among women in the Dominican Republic. In the last 6 years, 1,383 women and girls were killed, and a lot of them, 783, at the end of the current or former partner. One of the problems too is that violence against women are not really judged. A lot of cases aren't judged, and others, and fewer. Lots of violence against women don't came to the justice, and women don't don't trust the justice and sometimes ignore the help she can find in the police or in the justice system, in the security system. This is worrying, the number of children and women victims of violence. Even if it's penalized in the law, violence is increasing. Also, it's against about the law, but it's also against the international accords like the Millennium Development Goals. Indeed, its third objective is the promotion of gender equality and women autonomy. For me, the solution is education. People, men as women, can learn to learn how we talk about in the self-improving pedagogy. All kind of custom can be changed if it's necessary with the help of education. Men have to consider that women as equal as them, and women too. Last year I read an interesting article in internet in French about a program in San Jose, Costa Rica. One ONG give workshop to get new men. Professional psychologists work with that man that feel stuck with the machismo tradition. They want to change. They feel that women have changed. They can study, they can work, they are independent, but they don't know what to do in that new situation. And almost they are violent because the only way they learn to actuate in when they have to face a problem. So this program likes me a lot because a lot of these men wanted to change because they see that their relations were bad relations. Their family were afraid about them. There is no affection in their relationships, and they lost their family. They were very sad about it, and they wanted to change. My conclusion is that the conclusion of this investigation that shows that violence is present in the Dominican Republic. It's not so grave than in some other countries of the region, but it's really worrying. As a woman and mother, I'm more sensible to the domestic violence. It really surprised me that mothers abuse more than fathers. It's terrible that the new president caused so many abuses because the family is the base of each person. And if at home the children find violence, they will be violent as adults, so and reproduce abuses against their own family. It's really necessary that people get out of their ignorance and know about the consequences of abusing people. As mother and future teacher, I can participate to change people. Myself, I have to cultivate daily peaceful values like respect, love, democracy, compassion and solidarity. Our differences make us stronger, and we have to learn to face adversity with peaceful means. Also, education can change other aspects who create violence, like unemployment, ignorance, frustration and marginalization. Thank you for your attention. Bye bye.